Welcome to Optimistic Perspective with yours truly, Alethia, Colombian-born, Australian-based artist. Remember, we are energy, and what we project, we attract. Stay positive, open your heart, and step through the doors that are waiting for you. ¡Vamos!
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Thank you so much, Phil, for being with us and being part of Optimistic Perspective. You've been a police officer in the past, so working as a detective, also are a councillor still
Yep.
of the Central West ward in Australia here. Yeah. You are an actor and you are still part of the Diaries of Anne Frank.
Yeah.
How you managed to do all this?
I don't sleep. No, I've got a very supportive family who are right behind me all the way, and I've got travel time to do things and read things, and and genuinely I don't sleep a lot. I do have lots of hours during the day, and just try to make the best use of what time I've got and to do these things, and it keeps life interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. You seem very creative as well.
I try to be.
How did you get into acting?
Well, acting for me, I did it through school. From being a young child, I was always interested in performing. I'm a bit of a show-off. So I actually studied it at high school and qualified at high school in drama. And to be honest, back then it was more of a way of hanging out with girls because all my male friends were doing sports.
Yeah.
And I like sports too, but it was like, I was at that time in life where I was a young man. But I found that I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Very much enjoyed it. And I had a great drama teacher at high school who really encouraged me to pursue it a little bit, which I did after high school and did a little bit of training. And then, I went off in a different direction and left it for many years. I put it on pause.
Yeah.
And then being a police officer, you obviously shift work. You can't commit to things, to shows and that kind of thing. So I didn't do it for a very long time. And then in about 2018, I changed careers again, which meant that I was working regular hours.
Yeah.
And I started acting again in community theatre. And again, I remembered how much I really loved it. And I've not looked back since. I've been bitten by the bug. So.
Wow, that's amazing. What a journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost a resurrection.
Yeah, absolutely. I can imagine.
Yeah.
And also, you are in Australia, and I think we can hear the accent that you have there. So you are originally from the UK.
I am.
How was that change? Like, when did you arrive to Australia? What happened there?
So I was a police officer in the UK as well.
Okay.
In around 2008, I don't know, I can't remember how now, but I happened to come across an internet advert where the Western Australian Police were seeking police officers from the UK on a direct transfer scenario. And I spoke to my then wife and said, shall we give it a go? He said, yeah, sure. So we uprooted and we came to Australia. And that was in 2008, and I'm still here.
2008.
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
And then, do you, just as out of curiosity, do you think perhaps I don't know, maybe your acting background helped or was maybe useful when you were a police officer?
Oh, certainly. Yeah. The thinking on your feet, the improvisational side of things was useful on occasions. I can say that. It got me out of some sticky situations.
Yeah.
But yeah, certainly, there's occasions as a police officer where you're obviously facing dangerous situations or scary situations, and you've got to give off this impression that you're not. And so certainly knowing how to keep the feelings internal and giving out a different impression did come in handy. And certainly being a police officer has helped me with acting too. So
it's sort of like how you said, one has helped the other. I guess.
Yeah, in a two-way kind of relationship, certainly. Yeah.
That's really, really interesting.
Yeah.
And in terms of mindset, do you think, the way you managed to come into now being part of this play, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then also having alive, like having a family and like just managing being, you know, a regular person, but also like being an actor and working as well in the government.
Hmm.
How you do that? Like, do you have like any, I don't know, like just just like how? Like, just take us a little bit about it.
I suppose I'm quite good at compartmentalizing my life. So when I've got my regular, I call it my muggle job, like the Harry Potter, you know.
Yeah.
I generally, you know, that's what I do between these hours, so I focus on that. And then when I'm acting, you know, that's my, I mean, my family is also a pleasurable thing to have, but that acting is really something that is just for me as a little bit of, you know, self-indulgence.
Yeah.
So that's compartmentalized to that part, and then being a dad and whatnot, and a husband, it's that's what I do then, and everything complements everything else. But without the support of my entire family, none of those things would happen. You know, they're right behind me, and I've got a very creative. My best creative team is at home. All my children are highly creative. My wife, even though she doesn't want to be out on stage, she's highly creative herself, and so they understand the need to let that out. So you know, with the compartmentalization capabilities and the support of everyone else, it's a pleasure, and it's not difficult, I suppose, is what I'm saying. It's
Yeah, I guess if you have that support
yeah,
that always is there, then allows you, as I guess, like just to direct your energy wherever you want that you need for some time, and then do the other things at the
correct.
same time.
Yeah, that's it. And the three different things are not fighting against each other.
Yeah.
They're very separate but complementary.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming as well, well, having like a positive mindset, it's also, I guess, something that you have been implementing, because in order to be doing what you love to do, that is also acting, and I'm assuming as well this passion for being a part of like the government. Like, in order to do those things, I'm assuming you will have like to have some sort of like optimistic, you know, like
Yeah.
mindset.
Yeah. Definitely.
And I guess like when I met you at the theater, I also felt sort of like sense that energy. You're very like, I don't know, smiling to people, very grounded, very human.
Thank you.
And yeah, I think that, I don't know, this is very special. You don't see everyone being that way, and I think that also helps, I guess, to get you to where you are now.
Yeah. I think you're right. I've never really looked at it like that, but you know, I do. You know, no matter how bad things, you know, we all have bad luck every now and again, and I do naturally try to find the positive in everything that happens to me. And you know, the world. It actually ties in nicely with the show I'm doing at the moment. But in spite of everything, I do believe people are really good at heart, and which is something that Anne Frank said. You know, and I do. And being a police officer, you just generally see the bad side of it. And I never believed that was the whole of humanity. That was just the focus I had at that time, you know. So I think if you all smile at a stranger each day, we all hold the door open for someone, you know, I think the world can be a much happier place for everyone. And I suppose having positive people around you as well helps you be more positive. So yeah, the positive mindset is key. And again, something else I say to the younger cast members was say yes to everything. You know, when an opportunity comes at you, even if you're a bit unsure, say yes, be positive, try it, do it.
Yeah.
You know, not dangerous things, obviously, but you know, if you always regret things you don't do, you don't regret things you do.
Yeah, exactly. If it's I guess if you have a bad experience, you will just learn from it anyway.
Exactly. So yeah, so I think you're right. A positive mindset can get you through many things.
Yeah.
Even when it's tough, you know, stay positive.
And well, now that you were mentioning like the play, there's a line that you mentioned at the end of the play that I love. Of course, I watched the play, and it's for 2 years we live in fear. Now we live in hope.
Yeah.
When you say that, my heart was like, oh my gosh, because it's such an emotional part of the play, leading to the end.
Yeah.
And just showing that in a way there's no hope, but just by saying those lines, it's like, wow, like you are still hopeful even in the worst case scenario.
Mhm.
How is to say those lines, and how is to portray this character of Otto Frank for you? How has been that experience?
It's been a very interesting experience because obviously I grew up studying the Frank family at school, like a lot of people in do.
Yeah.
And I confess I never read the whole diary, but we learned about the Frank family and what they went through. So portraying Otto as the only survivor, spoiler alert, that it's been a really interesting experience learning all about him and what motivated him. But with the fact that they are Jews as well, and the word hope to many Jews is really, really important. And I learned that quite early on in the rehearsal process last year, that I couldn't really get that. I wasn't allowed to get that bit wrong because it's very important. It's not just a throwaway line. It's like hope is key.
Yeah.
Because of the hopeless situation, they still need to be hopeful. So to try to get that across to the audience as someone who's still trying to remain positive, even though they know what is coming through the door, they didn't know what was ahead of them. So, it's almost like, stay positive, which is obviously the theme going on here, isn't it? Stay positive. We know it's going to get tough, but let's live in hope.
Yeah.
And I've really tried to portray that. And this guy was someone who fought for Germany in World War One. He was a patriot to Germany, and then his country turned on him. But still, this man wanted to live in hope and wanted to stay strong for everyone else there. And doing that without being melodramatic or showy, or just trying to do it with a steady facade and a calm demeanor, which, having seen some interviews with Otto Frank from the late 70s, that's exactly the kind of impression he gave me, that despite of all the bad things that happened to him and his family, he's still very calm, still very grounded, still the rock at the center of the storm. And that's been the trick. That's, I hope, is what I'm conveying to the audience.
Yeah.
This guy is level.
Well, let me tell you that, at least through my eyes, that's exactly like what I perceive, like from the way you portray the character. It's just like very, very, very hopeful, like really to the point that it's like, oh my God, like how is that he still says these things even though like the worst is to happen in a way.
Yeah.
And the way that he's always like supporting his family, and also his guests, right? Like his friends, and showing to everyone that they are like as important as their family.
Yeah.
It's really, really special. Now, when you come to, I wanted to just talk a little bit about like that process of you preparing the character. When you started to come into preparation for the character, you said that was like about a year ago, was it?
Yeah.
About a year ago. How is that you get this role? Like, of course, I'm assuming like you went to an audition. How was the journey to get to this character for you, and what it meant for you as well, like to be able to be one of the main characters in this play?
Well, yeah, that was mind blowing, really. I never expected to get a role. I go into auditions with the only ambition to do a good audition. What happens thereafter is not in my control. So my agent sent me the audition notice and said, "Would you be interested in this?" And coincidentally, my New Year's promise to myself only 4 months before the audition came out was to try and get an audition for a show at the State Theatre in Perth. That was my ambition for that year.
Oh my God.
Just to get an audition. And then the auditions came out in January. So within weeks, I'd got an audition so that was tick for the year. I was like, well, what am I going to do for the rest of the year? Just going in and getting an audition. Thank you. And then, so in preparation, when I got the audition sides, I obviously remembered Otto Frank, and I started digging into him a bit more. And I thought, right, how am I gonna do this? How am I gonna be different? How am I gonna still convey the core of the man, but not be like everyone else that's gonna be going in there and doing this? And in the end, like I said a moment ago, I just decided not to be a show off about it, not to overact it, not to give it too much, actually to withdraw more from Drew and Rachel who were auditioning me. I thought, no, I'm going to be still. I'm going to be a bit introspective rather than a typical actor, you know. And lo and behold, much to my surprise, I got offered the role. But initially, Drew actually called me back to read as another character. So
Which character was that?
Mr. Van Daan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which I was.
I mean, I could see you there as well.
You see Matt do it, and I think I would have been horribly miscast if I'd have been given that role, because he's perfect for the role and he's a wonderful actor.
He does a great job.
Yeah,
that's true.
he's such a great guy as well. I mean, that's where I get my, a lot of my positivity from is him. He's such a sweetheart of a man. Anyway, sorry, I digress. So a few days later, I went and I read alongside Asher, who plays Mrs. Van Daan. Neither of us knew we were going to get cast at this point. And I read for the role as Mr. Van Daan, and then 2 or 3 days later after that, Drew called me and offered me the role as Otto, and I was like, well, because I thought, oh, he's asked me to come and read as this character. Clearly, he doesn't want me as Otto Frank. Yeah. And I'd done, that's fine, Being called back is a pleasure anyway.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and not many people get that far, so I took it for it was. And when he said, oh, I'd like to offer you the role as Otto, I was like, are you sure? I mean, you called me back to play Mr. Van, to read as Mr. Van Daan.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, I just wanted to see how you could change.
Oh.
I was like, so you were testing me. So I was absolutely blown away to be offered the role as Otto. And what a privilege, and what a weight to carry, a real honor to, it's never easy portraying real people. I've done it 3 or 4 times now, and the weight of trying to do them justice is, especially people who are no longer with us.
Yeah, and I guess there's a little bit of the responsibility of trying your best to really show how they live their life and how were they as a human.
Absolutely. And when I really started looking into Anne Frank, after being offered the role, to find out that one of my all-time favorite actors, Ben Kingsley, played Otto Frank.
Oh my God! And did you just find that out while you were researching? Wow!
I'd accepted the role, and then I started digging around even more, and I found a TV series where he played Otto Frank, and I was like, oh, wow! I've got to follow in his footsteps now. Oh, no pressure.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And now there's one more week at the moment. When this podcast comes out, it's about 2 weeks more. Yeah. But at the moment that we are talking, there's more 1 week. So there's more. There's 1 more week, of the play here in Melbourne.
Yeah, that's right.
Now you guys go to Sydney, isn't it?
That's right.
How long is gonna be in Sydney for?
So we open on the 25th of March, and the closing night is the 2nd of April. So it's a shorter season in Sydney, unfortunately, but logistics being what they are, these things happen. So we're in Sydney until April the 2nd.
And then when are you coming back home?
I'm staying in Sydney a bit longer. My family are meeting me there. My second youngest daughter turns 13 that weekend, so we're going to have a celebration in Sydney, and then we're going to fly back to Perth on the 7th. And hopefully, you never know, hopefully we might be able to come back again.
Yeah, that would be wonderful.
Do it all over again, which would be a wonderful experience. But this whole thing's been an amazing experience. Yeah, it's unheard of that companies from Western Australia come to Melbourne. It's normally everyone going that way.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I remember at the Athenaeum Theatre, a lot of people saying that they were like, "What? Like, is the cast all from there? Like, and the production? Like, as you said, like most of the companies are located in Melbourne or Sydney, I guess." So it was, I guess, a beautiful surprise for a lot of people as well.
Yes, and I mean, all kudos to Drew and Rachel, for taking the risk on us, and the level of respect and loyalty that they've shown to the entire cast is second to none, and something I know I'll always be eternally grateful for. Yeah. Because most companies would probably look locally for some actors, and and I believe it's something that's really going down well. everybody I've heard that have seen the show have really been moved by it, which is amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, fingers crossed. You never know what might happen in the future.
Oh yeah, I'm assuming like this. There's a lot of bright things coming for you for sure, and for the company and for all the cast. Like they are amazing actors all,
Yeah.
and also beautiful people.
Mm.
I myself, I don't think I have shared this in any of the other episodes, but I'm also work at the theater, at the Athenaeum Theater, and we all have witnessed the beautiful energy around the people, like the cast, the production. They all are very human, and they all caring about each other. And that atmosphere, I think, is very just like unique. I think because yeah, I guess knowing all productions, you find that sort of familiarity.
Yeah.
Or yeah, just like in a way relaxed environment, but also very loving, caring, and professional.
Yeah, yeah, it's certainly a team effort, and I think the actual concept of the show itself lends itself to that. We're all on stage the whole show together, aside from Kingsley and Grace, who are on and off, on and off.
Yeah.
But that's what their characters require. But nonetheless, they're still part of it, and so we have that whole
unit.
Yeah. I use the term siege mentality. We're a gang. It's us against them. And I've been in many shows, and often, there's always one or two characters who don't quite gel with the rest of us, and that's not because they're horrible people. It's just that they're different personality types. But this crowd that I'm with at the moment, this wonderful, wonderful gang, every personality type are funny and positive and supportive and there for each other, and it's a rare thing and something that'll be very hard to replicate in the future for me, I think.
Oh, that sounds very lovely.
I'm very lucky. I'm truly blessed. I really feel that.
Well, that's so beautiful. I feel also like very lucky as well to have you here.
Oh, thank you.
Very, very special to just to hear your story. And yeah, even like before we got to get here, I was also like, as I was saying, reading about your life, and I was like, this is really interesting.
Thank you.
Yeah, so it's really an honor to have you here sharing with us.
It's an honor to be here. Thank you for asking me.
Now you're sort of like going towards the end of the episode, but I wanted to ask. Usually I share a book and an album with people, something that maybe have moved us, or that has perhaps impacted your life in a certain way. So I wanted to ask you. I know you are reading a book at the moment. I'm not sure if that's the one that you want to mention, but is there a book that maybe has impacted you, or that you really feel close to at the moment?
Yeah, at the minute I'm reading a book which is all about the history of free speech, and from Socrates. It's called From Socrates to Social Media. And that's something I feel extremely passionate about, especially in the current climate.
Yeah.
Where more and more we seem to be, people are being censored, and I don't want to get political about it. It's just the way society is at the moment. But the interesting aspect of that, which is really impacting on me, is the way it goes around in circles. And people fight for free speech. They get it. It stays for a little while, and then more people take over and start clipping away at it, and then it comes back around to being completely removed again, or really restricted, and then the people have to fight for free speech again. That's been going on since the ancient Greeks, and it's a really interesting cyclical thing that just has been happening through history over and over and over, and I think we can have, this. For me, the reason I like this book so much is the fact that it reminds me that you can have free speech. You can say what you want. You don't have to offend people. And, rather than stopping people speaking and speaking what they think, why don't we just have a contest of ideas? And, you might have a different viewpoint to me. It doesn't mean I hate you.
Yes.
If I disagree with you, I'm not here to upset you. But if what I believe and what I say does upset you, then, let's talk about that. Rather than stopping the conversation, let's talk it out.
Yeah. And I think also that also is understanding that we all have different life experiences.
Yes.
So it's sort of like, in a way, obvious that we're going to have different points of view in different subjects.
Yeah.
Because in a way, it's sort of like what the way we have experienced things will affect the way we see things and we think about different ideas. And Yeah.
I've never come away from a conversation with people who have different ways of looking at life to me without being changed. Yeah, it's realigned certain aspects I view of the world. It happens to me daily when I get into it, like, speak to people on the train, for example, which I like to do. And I think in this currently, I seem a bit odd doing that. Hi, how are you? Have you had a good morning? What have you been in? But
Yeah, no, everyone is sort of
I
comfortable.
know,
with
we're
it.
all on the phones with the headphones in, and I still like to do that because people are interesting. And I always take something away from everyone I speak to, and it helps shape me into a different person, which is evolution, isn't it?
That's it. It's literally the reason why, and it's really it's like I just feel like goosebumps in a way because I feel like that's the reason why even I wanted to start with this podcast.
Yeah.
Because I feel like we all have something to teach from each other.
Yeah.
Sorry, something to learn from each other. And if we stop and hear and appreciate other people more, we learn more and we grow more and we see like love in each other.
Yeah.
And probably that the world wouldn't be as crazy as it is at the moment.
I agree. I couldn't agree more. Ignorance is the enemy of tolerance, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the more you learn about other people, the more understanding and tolerant you become of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for that.
You're very welcome.
Last one. Is there a song or an album that maybe has as well
many.
changed you?
There are many I could draw on, but the one that's come straight to my mind would be, and it's a heavy album, Bad Motorfinger by Soundgarden.
Oh, okay.
From the early 90s. And it was just at a very formative stage in my life where I wasn't sure what I wanted to do or how I wanted to be as a person. And I started listening to Bad Motorfinger by Soundgarden, and the song Jesus Christ Pose, the drums by Matt Cameron, just blew my mind. And I knew I had to learn how to drum that song that same way. And
drum?
Yeah, I'm a drummer.
Oh my God.
And it took me many months.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just at a stage in my life where it came along at the perfect time.
Yeah.
And it just sits there as a almost a marker in my life as a human, and it just took me off in this whole different direction. And yeah, and it'll always be special for that reason.
Wow. I'll make sure to add it in the podcast description so people can as well like listen to it.
If you haven't listened to Bad Motorfinger,
I haven't. I don't think I have. Yeah, or maybe I have and I'm not aware of the name.
Probably. Yeah.
But I'm really intrigued, so now for sure I'm gonna.
It was also at the start of the grunge explosion.
Yeah.
Nirvana were the commercial side of it, I suppose.
Yeah, true.
Whereas people like Alice in Chains and Soundgarden were the underground still, and that was an aspect for me as well. But Chris Cornell, God rest his soul, his vocal range was just
it's just incredible.
Yeah. So. Yeah, that's the first one that jumped into mind, but I could tell you so many more.
Yeah. No, we'll go with that one for sure.
Different podcast to list all my favorite albums.
Yeah. That's amazing. And one just before we finish, there's like 4 little no questions, but just like rapid questions that I like to ask,
right.
Just to know a little bit about you.
Yeah.
They're very easy, very simple. So let's start with the first one is tea or coffee? Coffee. Beautiful. Ocean or mountains?
I'll say ocean.
Football or rugby?
Rugby.
Of course I knew that one. And day or night?
Night.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Phil, for being part of this podcast. It's such a pleasure to have you again. And yeah, please come back to Melbourne. I'm sure. I'm sure we will be seeing you soon with another play, perhaps.
Thank you very much for inviting me to do this. It's been great fun.
Oh, thank you so much. Your socials are somewhere that people can connect with your work?
Yeah, very simply, Phil Bedworth actor, and that's on Instagram and Facebook. I'm not the most technologically advanced for those sorts of things, so I'm impressed I've done that.
Beautiful.
I am building a website too, but that's in the making.
Oh, that's coming soon.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, and anywhere we can listen to your music.
Probably best not. I'm out of practice.
Well, thank you again. And yes, see you in the next episode of Optimistic Perspective. Phil Bedworth with us today from the Diary of Anne Frank.